Hello, hello. I am so excited for y'all to tune in to today's episode with Irene. She is a relational trauma therapist in New York, and she is a mom to one little one. And by the time that this episode is released, she'll probably have her second baby here, which is so, so cool. And today we're really talking about sort of her why in building a private practice, how that has shifted since becoming a mom, and her sort of giving herself permission to switch directions, to pivot, to build intentionally, and to really create a business that supports her life as a mom, that gives her sort of like the fulfillment of a big, meaningful career where she gets to do work that she's really passionate about, while also getting to spend tons of time at home with her babies and her family. So if you are a mom, if you are pregnant, if you are thinking about planning and starting a family one day, I think that this is just such a beautiful episode in sort of building a practice and a life that supports everything that you want to do. Because as moms, there's a lot that we want to do and a lot that we desire. And you really can do it all when you are willing to pick the trade offs that feel good to you and make the hard decisions and set the boundaries. So I think you all will get a lot out of this. And let's jump in. Hi, Irene. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Tell folks a little bit about who you are, where you practice, what sort of clients you see.
Sure. My name's Irene Koutsidis-Martelli. I'm an LCSW in New York City, and I practice. I'm in private practice now, and I work primarily with millennial women who are struggling through relational and complex trauma.
Awesome. So I want to go a little bit back in time and talk about what sort of like motivated you to start a private practice when you first did so in June of 2024.
Yeah, totally. So I think it was um, it was kind of a no-brainer, but maybe not so much at that very moment
Yep.
because my son was due in July of 2024, and I was already feeling like, "Ooh, I think I want to be home with him more. I think I want to step away from like a 40-hour week schedule." And so I just started to take on my own clients while closing up and going on maternity leave, and honestly, like the rest was sort of history.
Yep. What was that like in the beginning stages to be 8 months pregnant and sort of like building your own private practice for the first time and figuring all that out?
Um, it was like everything else in my life. If there's ever a bad time to do it, I choose to do it. Um, I was at the hospital coming home on Thursday, and I remember Monday mailing in my paperwork to
Yeah.
like my corporation and being like, "Here, I need a business," because I figured by the time my maternity leave was up, I wanted the option of going back, and I wanted the option of staying home.
Yeah.
So chaotic and a lot of a lot of hard work.
Yeah. I think that, like, as someone who just sort of got out of the postpartum haze, I can imagine how challenging that is to sort of be like building a business and even doing all the annoying logistical steps in that time. But I also get how that's like really, really motivating to say, like, now is the time. Like, I've kind of had this dream, I've been thinking about it, but I'm actually going to take action because I don't want to go back to what I was doing before.
100%. I think that's probably the best way to put it. Sort of you know that you love and appreciate the work you do and what you've done and everything that's brought you there, but I think it's like a shift in values that becomes really in your face and undeniable.
Yep. When you were first sort of building that first year, what vision did you have for your practice? Like, what did you hope it looked like in terms of seeing clients virtually, in person, insurance, private pay? What was that first initial vision like?
Oh, so I thought this is great. I'm gonna get on all the insurance panels from like whatever portal I decided to use, and I'm just gonna accept them, and it'll be great because I'll already be making double of what like I was making, and then you realize slowly as you're starting to build up, like, oh, five clients is a lot in a day,
Yep.
and most people aren't working 5 hours straight,
Yep.
and then doing things at the end like I mean, I just kind of blanked on your question because I think I was just like whiplash from the memory. But I think that was like the thought of I'm going to go into all this, I'm going to jump in, and I'm going to do as much as possible. And then it becomes like, ooh, I don't know how sustainable this is for me, or how much this actually is for me if I do it
Yep.
this way. Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like in the beginning you were like, okay, I'll do insurance. I'll see like a lot of clients and that will be good. And then at some point you started to question, like, actually, this doesn't feel as good as I thought it would.
Yes, totally. I wanted to take a little more time to be thoughtful,
Yep.
and like in your words, really niche down. And then I didn't know that that's what I was meaning to do yet.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And so, about a year into your private practice in June 2025, you
Hmm.
decided to join Private Practice Academy. I'm curious what your like vision looked like at that point. Like, what were you hoping to get out of it or to change in your practice as a result of joining that program?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, um, I think what became more attractive to me was I had a pretty decent caseload on a week to week basis, by accepting insurance, using Psych Today. I had community partnerships and everything, but I definitely had my own reservations about going all out on a private pay um, practice.
Yep.
And I needed that, I think, boost and direction
Yep.
towards marketing for it and developing the language and the beliefs around owning it, which I thought, once getting to know your Reels membership and talking with other therapists and everything, it was like, okay, this is a good first step for sure.
Yep. And how have things sort of shifted? So I know you're in the process of going private pay. I know you're big on Instagram marketing now. I'm curious, like how your fees change, like where are things sort of at now?
Oh yeah, so it's I think something that, I mean, where things are now. So yes, I raised my rate. I remember when I first started, like my private pay rate was around like 175.
Yep.
Um, and then I increased it to 220, and it actually didn't do anything to deter referrals. I think it's been fine.
Yep.
I use certain out of network, third party uh, programs like
Yep.
Thrizer, which has been super helpful, especially because it really helps, I think, with the confidence around using out of network benefits for both
For sure.
me and the person who's investing their time and efforts. And it has been like, it really has been a game changer, because the average person, not even average, I think someone who like really wants to invest in their mental health treatment and is fine with the investment, but the the logistics or the um all the details and behind the scenes are really intimidating to them. Just
Yep.
like so helpful. So that was one piece, but I started to use more of those systems, Psych Today, Instagram marketing, like you said. Um, and what was remind me what you originally asked,
Yeah,
because
like
it's like,
sort of where things are going now. So I know that you've been kind of like slowly transitioning off of insurance panels. Maybe you could talk us through a little bit of like what that
yeah,
process has looked like for you.
yes. So perfect. Thank you. My pregnancy brain at this stage is strong.
Yes, I guess we should also note for folks listening that when at the time of recording this, you're 31 weeks pregnant.
Yes.
Yeah, I
So
think
I
by
get
the
like,
time it
yeah.
comes out, you'll have your second baby, which is so cool.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like in like brain. I like remember things and then I half don't. So you
Oh,
have an idea of what
I
my clients
totally
are
get
going
it.
through right now. I'm like, one more time. um. So yeah, to um to go back. So what I did was I decided in tears how I was going to start to come off of insurance panels.
Yep,
So that way I had like a certain amount of income that I could knew was sustainable
yep,
for myself. And as I also had these longer term relationships with some of my clients who had been working with me, they were really fine with it. They were just like, okay, like kind of tell me what to do, tell me how to make it work. And I went through tiers. So like every quarter I would choose like a different thing to do. I would
yep,
come off one insurance, or I'd raise the rate in a certain in a different way. So that's
Yeah.
what I've been doing over the last 7 months, and it's worked out really well, I will say.
I'm curious your sort of like thought process behind doing things in tiers versus just like ripping the band-aid off and doing it all at once.
So I'm confident and I'm fairly fearless in many aspects of my life, but I'm also extremely practical. And I think you
Yeah.
have to be, especially when I'm not like some single girly, like with nobody who relies on me. Like
Yeah.
I have a child, and I have a husband, and I have a home and a mortgage. So it's like, I think everything that PPA kind of shows you is possible. And I think that you have to then tailor it to your own awareness about what is comfortable for you and your
Yeah.
life. And for me, it was always, I'm going to take a year to sort of implement all of this, because I knew for myself I was having another child. I was going to be
Yeah.
building. So for me, this was like, you have to make it your own. That's it.
And I think that that is so smart and like very similar actually to how I did things too of like I think when we try and do everything all at once, it creates like a lot of instability financially. And then also just for like our nervous system, it can feel really dysregulating to go and tell like a full caseload of clients that you're getting off of insurance, even if they all stay, because you don't know that until you have the conversation, right? And
Totally.
so for me, I like was working at a group practice and I kind of waited to quit there until I had enough insurance based clients in my own practice. And then I brought some of those group practice clients with me to insurance with my own practice after that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I sort of slowly got off of one insurance panel and then the next while I was building private pay until, and somewhere in that process, I quit my full time job. But even for a portion of that, I still had a full time income
Mm-hmm.
because, I actually, I guess I wasn't single, I was engaged, but I was in charge of my own bills. Like I had, my
Yeah.
husband wasn't sharing things with me at that point. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I can't just totally rip the ripcord here.
Yeah.
And so I think that that is really helpful just to sort of think about like what it is that you need financially and also just from like a safety perspective and not making it wrong to sort of build in stages and to take it step by step because in the grand scheme of things building a private pay practice in a year is like a huge success. There's like no rush to do it in 3 months or 6 months or 9 months or whatever.
Yeah, totally. I completely agree with you. And I think that's exactly, um, when you ask in the PPA, like, what's your why? Like, your why isn't necessarily just like, because I want more money. Like,
Yeah.
it's never that simple. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it really isn't, right? I think it's because I want to cultivate this life. I'm actively in the process of building this mindset, this calm, this everything that ultimately, yeah, it makes sense to have maybe 15 to 20 private pay clients a week, and that works. And that it's just, I just want it to be so intentional about time, I
Yeah.
think. And so for me, being intentional about time has a lot to do with being a present mother, being a present therapist, being a present wife, being a present human being.
Yeah.
And so those are sort of the things that I think were the why. And like, take your time. It's all there. Like, it's all good. It's all good. We're gonna get there. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the time we focus, or I focus, especially in like my marketing and the conversations I have around the money, because I think it is just like such a tangible result that's like clear for everyone to sort of understand and apply across their life. But you made such a good point that it's less about like the dollars in your bank account and more about what those will give you. And that might look different for everybody, right? Like charging
Hmm.
more for you might mean you can see less clients and you can be, home with your babies. For someone else, it might be travel or buying a bigger house or,
Hmm.
whatever that is. But I'm curious, you and I have talked a lot about like lifestyle goals, but what that sort of looks like for you. Like, what is the vision that you are hoping your life can look like as a result of having a private pay practice?
Yeah. So I think I'm sort of in the middle of like that Britney Spears song, I'm not a girl, not yet a woman. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
that's where I am in my private practice right now, where where so much of what I dreamt of a year ago is right in front of me and it's in my hands and everything. And so much of what I'm building is right around the corner. So
Yep.
to answer your point, um, me and my husband had really deep, important conversations around what kind of family we wanted to have and how we wanted to run our home. And one of the things that really stood out and became more of like a we want this and now how do we make everything else sort of work around it was I
Mhm.
really wanted to be the one raising my kids
Yep.
pretty much like in the earlier years. And I have no problem with what that might mean limitations wise for other parts of my life. But I didn't want it to compromise who I was as a therapist. Like, I love being a therapist, I
Yep.
love owning a business. Um, so for me, it was more about this vision of, okay, and we wanted to leave New York. We wanted to be
Mhm.
somewhere where we could be outdoors all year. Like you're in Florida, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to South Carolina soon and I'm going to be near the coast also. It's like that was the
Amazing.
lifestyle. Oh my God, I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. If you've never been to the Charleston area, just go. It's like life changing. But that was like what we wanted. I kind of just made it more like, okay, I kind of picture myself in this like more spacious home. There's sun outside. My kids are playing, I'm cooking, I'm seeing clients, I'm doing like all these things that I'm connecting with my neighbors. We're having a barbecue.
Yeah.
Those were the things that I just pictured. I'm like, so that doesn't look like I'm going anywhere 40 hours a week. How do
Yeah.
we make this work? And honestly, that's kind of it. My delusion has always been my biggest strength.
It for sure is. So I think that it's super scary to say like, "Hey, I want these things," um, especially when that's outside of the realm of what most of us were taught was possible, right? Like not just therapists, but I think
Totally.
most people envision they have to work a 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 or 8 to 6 or whatever,
Hmm.
some standard business hours, or the opposite of like, okay, I'll be a stay-at-home mom. But
Hmm.
I don't think we see too many examples outside of those two extremes where people are able to build something that's their own and where they can sort of have that like personal and professional fulfillment of a career that means a lot to them while also getting to spend a large majority of the time at home and with their babies and with their family.
I totally agree. And I just like got chills because I remember just always thinking about like as a kid when people asked me what I wanted to be. It's just like I never knew,
Yeah.
right? But then there was always this image. I always pictured myself in a big house with 6 kids. I'm not having 6 kids,
Yeah.
but I also always like when I would play pretend would be like stapling papers and writing my signature on things. Like I was walking around my grandparents' dining room table acting like I was the boss of the house, which I'm an eldest daughter, like I am.
Yeah.
So like to me it really is like I kind of always knew what my energy was in, and like I
Hmm.
think that to your point, like it speaks to this idea as women that we can do whatever the heck we want to do. um and there's a will there is a way. Like it's truly one of the oldest cliches, but I think like we're doing it. And I remember being told as a kid, like, oh, a teacher is such an attractive job if
Yep.
you're a woman who wants to be a mom. And my mom was a teacher, and I would hear all of it, and I'd be like, that is so not anything I ever want to do. But I think now it's like, if you want to be a mom, maybe a therapist is a good job for you.
Yep.
And like making it, I don't know, just like possible that we can be these educated, strong, independent women and still be nurturing and wholesome and create these homes that, our families will benefit from too, and us.
Have you always had that sort of like Delulu dream big, do what you want kind of attitude? Or what do you think like allowed you the space to really slow down and dream and think about like starting your own business and what you wanted that business to look like and kind of having that freedom to adapt one year in and say, actually, I don't think I got this quite right. Let me like reshift and rebuild.
Yeah, I think I've always been Delulu, but only because I was proof. There was a lot of proof around me that delusion works. And
Mm-hmm.
my parents were fairly young when they had me, Like they were still doing school and working. And I remember being like, I remember my mom's 30th birthday, put it that way,
Yeah.
you know, and my dad. And so my grandparents were really, really present for me when I was little. They took care of me a ton, and they were off the boat from Greece. Like they came here and they're late in from between the ages of like 15 and 27.
Mm-hmm.
So I spoke Greek before I spoke English. Like they taught me everything, and I think I just always knew how hardworking they were, and they always kind of made it very clear like we got here with like $50 and no knowledge of the language.
Yeah.
You can do it. And my grandfather, like God rest his soul, he was like my number one cheerleader, and I love him, and I think that I am so much me because of everything he made me believe in myself. So I'm very grateful for all of them. They're all great. They have a lot of good stories and info, but I think it was just like having people who truly made you believe in yourself and were like, we walked so you could run, now run, you
Yeah.
know. Not to say it didn't come with its own like level of, oh my gosh, like I have to be these things. But I also think like when I look back, I'm like, my grandfather would be really happy that I'm choosing a lifestyle that calms me and isn't such like sirens and working hard, because he's like, yes, that's the point. Like I did all those hard crazy things so you guys don't have to. And so that was like a real mindset, I think, shift for me over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the saying of like exercising your free will?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious how you sort of like exercise your free will in today's version of your private practice with like the flexibility that you choose and sort of how that shows up day to day for you.
Mm. I am not afraid to say no anymore.
Yep.
I have become, I have had quite a few referrals as I'm going on maternity leave. And I feel like some I've some like I've taken on appropriately and with enough time, but the power of no is not necessary. I always think of no now as like I'm redirecting someone on the path that is theirs, like towards
Yep.
theirs. And like I think free will also comes with like deconstructing like the scarcity mindset.
Yep.
And I just feel like no, no, no. Like if I tell someone no and it's with good intention, that means that I'm giving them back their free will and
Yep.
their ability to continue and their accountability to be able to be and do. And for me, I'm also leading with like love in my heart. Like I know I can't do this for you the way you deserve for it to be done, and
Yep.
you don't deserve that either. So I think, and that's just not just with referrals, that's just with anything really.
Yeah. Has that been more so with like clinical fit and like really wanting to work with the clients that you're most passionate about, or just like time and wanting to sort of protect that?
Both. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say I've told people no, not because, right, because there's, yeah, clinical fit. Let's keep it like that. And then also time. Yeah. I don't see anyone ever on Fridays um, unless like a doctor's appointment came up for me or something like that,
Yeah.
especially in pregnancy. Like I've made exceptions because that's nothing that is in their control. And I don't want to do that to people. But I have some pretty hard boundaries. I used to see people at 8 o'clock. This past year, I cut it out entirely. Like I don't even
Yeah.
see 8 o'clock passed on my schedule. Like that's not a thing anymore. And I
Yeah.
think, yeah, so fit, time, just your own personal boundaries. Like if you're not loaded up on your own energy and like source and light, like you're not gonna be able to give it to anyone.
So true.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what your caseload looks like now in terms of the portion that's on insurance and the portion that is private pay. I
Yeah.
know you said your rate's like 220.
Yeah. I have during like on a I have about 65% of clients who are private pay at this point.
Yeah.
Um some are some are weekly, some are biweekly, and then the majority of people who are still on insurance by no chance, by no like um no reason, they're about split in half too. they're half biweekly and half weekly. So I would say about 65% of people are cash pay.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's been working out really well. It's definitely allowed me to say yes to things I want a little more, no to things I don't want a little more.
I'm curious what that next sort of like tier of transition looks like for you as you're getting ready to go out on maternity leave.
Yeah, so by the time I come back from maternity leave, which will be sometime over the summer, which is slow in private practice world to begin with,
Yep.
I'm probably going to finish coming off the rest.
Yep.
And then by the fall, which is where I usually get like a huge jump, I get a lot of referrals between August and October,
Yep.
right? Yeah, that's like a thing.
Typical. Yeah.
Yeah, very typical. It feels like that'll be around the time where I'll be ready to take on some more clients. Um, and so that's my plan. Just coming off over the next over the summer,
Yep.
um, and letting my clients know from now so they can start to, well, I try to do about like 60 days in advance, 60
Yep.
to 90. So by the time I'm on maternity leave, I should be letting them know. Yeah.
Amazing. I
Yeah.
feel like that's so exciting to come back to work with two little ones and know, okay, I feel really good about like the income that I'm making from each session. Like that sort of time away from my baby feels like a fair trade. And that you're able to really have like a smaller, more limited caseload because everybody is compensating you super well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think also something that I don't think gets talked about enough about what it means when you're not just paying for private pay therapy, but investing in
Yep.
private pay therapy. Because I like using that word, um, because it's not just like you're coming to a store, dropping $220 off and leaving and getting just like a bag of goods.
Yep.
You are compensating me, but I spend a lot of time reading,
Mm-hmm.
researching. I mean, my notes are always behind, and that's okay. Whatever, we'll figure that out. One day we'll get there. But I do always have my little paper notes that I just, you know. Um, but I invest a lot of time
Yep.
into the work because I want people to leave being like, "Oh, I went to therapy and it was great." Like,
Yep.
I'm trying to show up for our field as a whole too. Like, I went to therapy and my therapist, she knew about things. She recommended me books. She listened to a podcast and thought of me and told me to listen to it in our next session. Like, I'm not just a therapist in the 50 minutes that we're together. I'm
Yep.
your therapist around the clock.
I
So,
love that.
yeah.
And I know too, you're like kind of taking that time to invest in like more clinical trainings and like do
Hmm.
all the things because you have more capacity since you're not having to do back to back sessions every single day.
Yeah. Yes, I enrolled in a advanced holistic counseling and coaching training through the um, counseling positive energy counseling center and training center out in Long Island. I just butchered the name, but it's just so many good words. Um, but it's been incredible. It's a 9-month program, and there's about 4 2-day intensives that I go out there, and I'm with other healthcare and mental health professionals. It's about a
Yep.
small group of us, and yeah, it's like a lot of that next level of holistic mind, body, spirit, and connecting it with like the neuroscience and neurobiology of what we do. So it mixes DBT and CBT and mindfulness with also like this extra layer. And no, I couldn't have done that if I was working the 40 hours a week I used to work on top of then the 10 hours in private clients I would see at night to build my caseload. Like,
Yep.
no, I cannot do that, but I do it. I afford it. It's my tax write off. Like,
Yeah,
and it goes back to my clients and me. And I feel like a better person for all these things, you know? It's
totally.
incredible.
So, sort of wrap up, what advice would you give to any moms or moms to be who are thinking about building a private pay practice to really have more time at home with their families?
Yeah, I would say, first off, like, you just created life. Like, don't let anyone minimize the fact that that in itself is makes you superhuman.
Yep.
Um, but build a practice that fits the life you actually want, not something that you think looks impressive from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
don't get caught up in like what this looks like and what people are going to think or this or that. I think zero in, focus in, stick with like your values and your intentions, and the rest really, it falls into place. Not overnight, but it does. It falls into
Yep.
place.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so happy for you. Thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing your wisdom with everybody. I'm so excited to hear more about this next stage of being a mom to two and moving to North Carolina. So please keep us
South.
posted. South Carolina.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you giving me the platform and the space. And I think, we're setting an example in a way for people to continue to be it all and finding the balance or the sacrifice in it.
Yep, for sure.
Thank you.